We're in.
Yeah, that was mine. I'm honestly surprised that with that laggards in the Facebook and even the LinkedIn startup, I was just distracted in looking at, is Facebook starting on time or not? Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show and to your own screens. Like we exercised this 188 times nearly, and with CM Convo 188, 87. Am I a bit distracted? 187. We are working forward towards switching from asking vendors, talking about what is coming up in 2024, and having the very, very entertaining team of Michael Wu and John Reed as talking about their perspectives in AI. We wanted to give you an honest talk on what one can experience as a user or an admin with different products. We are very, very happy that Kristin from Xbox, as an experienced CRM, CX solution admin and super user, has taken a responsibility for in their company now running a solid CRM system. And Kristin has taken that role very often in several companies, such as, hello, can you make it run? Can you get a better one? And there's being a technology enthusiast and expert in communication, customer dialogue, and customer service for more than 10 years, that is, well, let's say somebody we would love to learn and get some shares on her experiences she made. The former flying officer in the German Armed Forces also dealt with the topic of customer and employee experience, and she had in history some touch points also in software development, where a company which is known now in the conglomerate of 5 companies which are called FEAR, she was one of the early creators of some AI and these solutions. So hot stop and hotspot AI will touch us today as well. And she has already built up and proven her strengths in the area of marketing and sales in well-known companies in the customer service sector, and her contacts to software solutions are broad and touched so far several solutions in her user and admin journey. Building TRICE systems from scratch for a sales team, including the configuration. She also worked with a bespoke homegrown solution, but had also a lot of expertise with Dynamics CRM, HubSpot, Zoho, and a bit of Freshworks. Welcome, Kristin. After that overwhelming introduction, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for having me in your great show. I'm very, actually, to be honest, a bit nervous if I can really fulfill all your high expectations towards me, but I'll do my very best to share my experiences.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Yeah. Got it. No, with you guys, everything becomes great. So yeah, let's start. I'm really excited to do this with you here today.
So would you like to add something ahead of my trial to introduce you properly?
Yeah,
what you
of course.
Sure.
Regarding my experiences with CRMs, which is the focus for today, I would just like to add that I experienced the entire journey a user can have. So from starting from the situation where I just have been introduced to the already established system in a company and I just had to use it, take it or leave it, over to I was asked as a team member, what are your expectations? What are your requirements and so on? until today, where I'm a head of, and the position as a head of, I am happy to lead those such projects like selection a new system, and I already have gained some experiences as a leader in this kinds of projects. So this is my entire journey. So a nice variety of experiences and options to ask questions.
What causes a career change from Air Force to CRM?
Somehow expected exactly that question. Well, that's a long story. To make it short, the Armed Forces of Germany decided not to have the Tornado system any longer. And I was dedicated to the Tornado system. And for that, I also had to find something new, a new role for myself. I didn't want to fly helicopters. So I decided to leave the Armed Forces and just head forward to another career, complete different stuff. That was my first wish then, find something completely different.
Yeah, just for full disclosure, I did fast patrol boats to CRM.
Oh, see, that's almost the same journey we share here. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the story, to be honest. Nothing more behind. But I'm in that career now for let me calculate, more than 12 years. I'm in the customer service branch. I'm into customer service technologies, into communication stuff. I'm passionate towards customer service and communication. I really, I see Ralf is just agreeing, because we had a talk before this video session here, and I just talked in a speed he almost couldn't recognize. So yeah, he already knows that I'm very passionate about those topics regarding communication and customer service and experiences. Yeah.
Talking about that, what is a CRM? What is CRM? And what is customer experience? Well, let's start with the first one.
From my perspective, there's a very important difference between the technical word CRM, customer relationship management system, which is a platform where you can just manage your customer relations, your customer data. In former times, we would have named it data system. And the other part is what I feel about customer relations. So I would want to make customers happy. And here we are slightly going into the customer experience part. So it's very mixed and combined. There's no hard differentiation between those. It goes into one goes into the other slightly. So for me, everything I do every day is make customers happy. That's it, to be honest. And everything that works towards this goal for me is customer relationship management.
This is what I like to hear.
You're welcome.
Makes the two of us.
Yeah.
We are three in the bunch, and we are always happy if we see smiling people. And happiness to create is the one thing we do our very best, such as are you doing in creating some events, experiences. But Thomas usually center on that one is you cannot deliver the experience. You create something which comes to the evaluation by the customer, and he likes it or he doesn't like it. Yeah. So that is the challenge one has to face. And how do you get the feedbacks? How do you organize yourself these so important feedbacks from your end users, internal as external, if they are your customers?
In my special situation, I think this is not something you can take generally for everyone. In my special situation, we are a very small company. I have a very personal relationship to all my customers. So usually I build the entire journey for the customer. I started with the first approach. I am the one who is doing the discovery calls. I am the one who is somehow building up the relationship. And then also, I know this is very special, I am also then in the project. So we are a I lost the word now. We are Berater. Yeah. We are consultants. So I am selling consulting projects. Consulting we provide consulting, and after the sales process, I'm also in the consulting process. This is very special, and so in this specific question, I just can answer. I have a very personal, direct connection to my customers, and this is why I get the feedback from. But to answer this for general companies, in my opinion, it is absolutely important not only to have a customer relationship management system, but also at least integrated in the system a customer experience management system, which includes feedback functionalities, which includes analytics for the feedback, which includes action parts. So whenever there is a feedback coming in, the system should be able to create at least hints for the next best action, for example. So in my opinion, there are specific platforms only for the question of customer experience management.
Is that so? Going back into the early noughts, so 2000 to 2010, we had the notion of suites, and they incorporated. So we apparently didn't have the opportunity to do next best action, as neither the algorithms nor the computing power were there. But what we had was the ability to gauge responses and reactions of customers, and with that, the ability to act on that. So using the bad word, we had the ability to manage the customer's experience. Cringing a little here, but so we had the ability. We had the ability to manage our engagement with the customer so that they perhaps get a positive experience if they didn't step up with the wrong foot.
I think softwares or platforms for the specific tasks like experience management come into focus when we are talking about scaling up something. So if you have your 100 own customers or your 15 high accounts or stuff like that, you can handle this by your own, out of your mind. But if you are talking about scaling up something and now you have to measure and you analyze experience of 2,000 or 10,000 customers, then AI and a good platform definitely helps you to manage those experiences. Yeah.
As said, we didn't have neither the algorithms nor the compute power to do that.
Of course.
The systems, from their intention point of view, had it as far as technically possible at that time. So why differentiate between experience and relationship management? Again,
as I already mentioned, I don't differentiate, to be honest.
Why does the rest of the gang do that?
Because it's easier.
What's your opinion or your conclusion of that?
We as human beings always try to have, in the armed forces, we called it right and left limitation. So we need to know where are the limitations, where is my space, where's my bubble to act in. We as human beings, we love to have that. So we tend to differentiate between topics. We tend to have special tools for every task. But in my opinion, there are so many topics, for example, here in the customer relationship management, that do not stay on their own. They work together hand in hand. And in my opinion, I think sometimes tools should be able to combine those topics. In the question of customer experience management today, I don't know any system that can build up both. So Today, I know there are customer relationship management systems, and then you have specialized customer experience management systems. You can integrate them, you can combine them. I'm not sure if those are working properly these days. In the future, definitely, we have the perspective of very, very good approaches. I don't know. I'm not sure if they already are working perfectly today.
They never will. I promise you that.
Maybe.
Because the more is working, the more we ask.
Yeah, perfect is a lot to ask
Yeah,
for.
that's right. Perfect
The
is a
interesting
heck of
aspect is during your journey, you came from several systems to a new job, a next system. I'm a bit curious that we would like to learn a bit about what is your personal Kristin benchmark if you go towards a new solution.
Yeah, if it is okay to name the company from my
feel
personal,
free. I'm absolutely stress-free on that
my
one.
benchmark,
As long as you mention more than one.
Shush.
Oh, I know. I just had one in my mind because I have to set the benchmark. It's, to be honest, for me, it's HubSpot, because that's the first system I really was happy with.
Okay.
That really fulfilled most of my expectations and requirements. And that was the first system I had kind of an admin role. And it's somehow in the middle. If you're looking on the sector of CRMs, it's somewhere in the middle, in the pricing, in the functionalities, in the complexity. So for me, this is the best thing. Whenever I'm looking at a new system, or whenever I'm asked to find something new, I compare it to my experiences with HubSpot. There have been nice experiences, there have been not so nice experiences, and I'm always comparing with that system. That's my benchmark.
And HubSpot is also fairly easy to implement.
Absolutely, yes, you're right. Yeah.
What did you do with it?
With HubSpot?
Yeah, well, what was the scope of the implementation?
I didn't, when I first was a user of HubSpot, I just was a user. I didn't implement it by myself. I had the marketing role, and I just was it really, what is it? I was just begeistert how easy a system can be for a user. And the second role I had was from the sales perspective. I was a head of sales, and there I was part of the team that has to find a complete new system without having another system before. And I could also use my former experiences from the marketing perspective. But here I had sales, the sales focus for this. And I somehow tried to transform my marketing experiences into the sales part, when I learned that this is not always the best way. So I here made a lot of learnings. Again, some nice experiences, but also some not so nice experiences, of course.
Would you like to share some of your challenging experiences and some of your positive experiences?
Yeah, we like both. Feel free to be negative.
Okay, so first of all, I had to learn that you absolutely have to have a plan. You have to have an agenda. You have to have your data straight. You have to have your processes straight. You need to know what your processes will be. And in the position as a head of sales, I was a bit struggling, because I was starting both. I was starting the position as the head of sales in the company, which hadn't been before there. They didn't have a sales department. And we were starting with a complete new customer relationship management system. So we didn't have any processes straight yet. We didn't have any data structures straight yet. And we didn't have any experiences on how the sales process would work in that specific company with that specific product. And to be honest, in my head, that was a huge mess. There's a German term for that, fischen im Trüben. You just try to find the best by just fishing around and not seeing anything. I think with this base, we did a very good job in the very end, but we really learned what you can be struggling with. We really learned the hurdles, the handicaps, so what typical challenges you will have. And for this, I just learned, have your data straight. You will hear this very often from me, and maybe even tonight. Have your fucking data, I'm sorry, straight. This is the most important thing you need for a good working system.
Yeah, we know how hard the word data is for our audience. Yeah.
In former time, it has been for me too. Today, I'm a data lover. I'm for my team.
Wow.
I'm not a data analyst or anything like that. I don't have education on that. Very often I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. I just know what I would like to have. But for my team, regarding data, I'm really a pain in the ass regarding data discipline. I'm every day forcing them, thank you very much. I'm every day forcing them to document everything, to maintain, kind of always the same structure of everything. Whenever I'm uploading data into the system, we are using Zoho. Whenever I'm uploading a list of, let's say, contact data, it has to be millimeter by millimeter, the same structure always. And I'm such a pain in the ass to make sure that they do exactly this. So, and I can really be furious if they don't, because I learned, and that was also in the former system when I used HubSpot, I learned some mistakes in this data processes can make a data graveyard out of your system.
Was that an experience you also had, sorry for interrupting, with one of the other systems, not only with... Okay. Would you like to share this?
Now the next name dropping in the negative way is coming up. Yeah, when I was forced to use Microsoft Dynamics. Again, there also has been a kind of a data graveyard, and here in this specific situation, this graveyard happened because for me and also for my predecessors, hadn't been any transparency by using the system. What is the system doing? What happens when I press the button here? What happens when I change the data here? What happens when I upload that list or that data? Nobody knew. And usually what I learned from modern sophisticated systems, no matter if it is CRM or other systems, what I learned is intuitivity. You know, as an Apple user, I was used to have intuitive systems, intuitive tools.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and maybe I'm alone with that, but in my opinion, Microsoft Dynamics was a mess, not intuitive at all. And this then creates so many issues that you also have a data graveyard in this. And in this situation, what I found in the company I entered was a data graveyard. There were so many contact data here and company data there and communication documentation there, and no information about what is related to what, who is already been mailed to, who not. There was just no information. It was a mess. Yeah.
How do you go from having a data graveyard to having, a living and functioning data garden? How do you get from one to the other?
So first step was to just get rid of the old system. I really insisted to please become a new system. I just couldn't get warm with the Microsoft Dynamics. So it never had a chance for me to somehow work. So I insisted to get rid of the old system to find a new one, which has been a very nice and interesting process. And for the new system, that was, and again, data. I started with getting my data straight, and I'm I'm maintaining a high discipline on erasing old data, erasing data that are not longer valid, always having an eye and really hands-on. I'm not always trusting the workflows or the automations. I'm also at least once a week checking the system, going through the data, just checking, are they looking good? So this sounds maybe a bit funny, but this is what I do. I really handle my own system like it's my kid. Yeah, I'm really taking care of it. I think that's also one point you need to do. Yeah, I just love your
Very
funny
brave.
signs. These
Very
are so cool. Yeah, but this is what I do, and maybe this is also some may name it micromanagement. I don't think that's micromanagement. I think this is one of my responsibilities as a head of, as the product owner in the company, taking care that the system is working properly. And for this, I really check the data every week at least, sometimes more often when I see something coming up which looks strange. And yeah, this is what you have to do. And teach your team, push your team to do the same, have the same discipline towards data. Yeah, and for now, I'm working with a system, with a new system. I've been working since, let's say, like 10 months or so. It's working fine. Let's see what it brings 2 or 3 years later.
On a similar take, you said something like it's not intuitive. Is that systemic, so embedded in the system, or was that also or mainly caused by the implementation?
No.
I mean, the lacking data integration is predominantly an implementation challenge, I'd say.
But when I say it was not intuitive, I mean, for me, there's one specific rule towards platforms and softwares. You know one, you know them all. So you know one modern CRM system, actually, in my opinion, you kind of know or understand them all. They all are kind of working very similar. And the only system that didn't fit this rule has been Microsoft Dynamics.
Really?
I'm a techie. So I'm keen on getting the next device, the next gadget. I'm an early adopter to anything new. So whenever there's a new software, just give it to me. I will find out where the limits are. I stretch it to the limits, and I love doing this. And usually I find out how it works by myself. I couldn't manage this with Microsoft Dynamics. And it really drives me crazy. I was kind of frustrated and furious about that. I was like, let's get rid of that. I don't like it anymore. I do not want to work with that because I cannot catch how it works. I don't know why.
Can you give some examples?
For example, I couldn't manage the transformation from marketing to sales process. So for most of the systems, it's very clear to find the workflow whenever a lead becomes a deal, for example. There's a workflow for that. The system shows you what to do. It offers you specific buttons or functionalities to now transform this lead into a deal, for example. Couldn't find that. I just couldn't find that. I somehow worked in 2 different areas. I had the marketing area, and then I had to copy paste. That's how it feels for me. It feels like I had to copy paste data from the marketing section and to paste into the sales section. I never found out how to do it better. Don't know why. And to be honest and to be fair towards the system, I never asked a, let's say, consultant or a customer support to support me or to help me out with those questions, because I'm used to solve those issues by myself.
Mhm.
And I'm very sure if a platform offers usability, actually you need to be able to solve those issues by yourself. When you use customer service or customer success management or customer support, like technical support from the vendors, then there must be very deep, detailed technical problems you cannot solve by yourself, of course. But the normal daily business, the normal functionalities, in my opinion, should be approachable by yourself, by your own abilities as a normal user.
Right. You shouldn't
That's
have
what
to
I expect.
relearn. You shouldn't
Pardon
have
me?
to. You shouldn't have to relearn how CRM works in
Yeah,
order to do something as
absolutely.
basic as
Yeah,
Mhm.
said.
yeah. And I even couldn't manage the basic functionalities with that system. Until today, I don't know why. I don't know why.
Coming back to some other experiences, how in comparison was when you entered the organization where you either found or had to work with a bespoke system, an individually programmed one? Was this less complicated or more complicated?
To be honest, when I had to work with a bespoke system, I was just a user. I just entered the company. I was told, see, this is the system we are using. This is how it works. Go for it. Yeah, have fun. Yeah, and again, I'm a techie, and they knew that they can expect me to do exactly this. She will find out how it works, and I did. I really liked it to work with a system because you in a really highly customized system like this bespoke system, you exactly find your company structure. It's exactly, and because the system is built only for that company specifically. So you find the wordings, you find the processes, these are perfectly set. But I also learned if the company is moving forward, if the company is developing, if the company is scaling up, those systems, depending on who built the system, who was the company who wrote the code for the system, depending on those, sometimes those systems are not able to grow with the company or to change the scope or to change into new technology stuff. Like today we are working with AI, and those systems from like 15 years ago maybe didn't ever consider that sometimes there will be stuff like AI. So they have no options to integrate AI. So you have a system. This is, in my opinion, it's very fixed, it's very limited, perfect for your organization right now, but usually not within the next 10 years, for example.
You have touched some further systems. You mentioned also in our talk that you had as user some contacts also to Freshworks. In which areas?
Also in my role as a sales, as a head of sales, Freshworks has been in the selection process for the new CRM. So I had some demos, advanced demos, and so on. I really like the system. It's light. It's also intuitive and all the stuff. What I didn't like in that specific situation, it has been some years ago, and I was only part of the team. I was not leading the selection process. What we all didn't like and it's as simple as it is, the customer support was only in English, and not only English, but Indian English. So Freshworks is, the customer support from Freshworks is located in India or Pakistan or somewhere. And maybe that sounds funny, but we had a team of not so experienced users, and we just had we just were afraid that if there are some greater issues coming up, we would struggle with the customer support because of just language issues.
Yeah.
And it was the reason. The system has been actually the cheapest in the pre-selection process. So, and the functionalities have been great, but at this moment we decided for the more expensive system because
Which
of this customer support topic.
At that time, which was the system, or the other systems on the plate, which were those?
We had Salesforce, we had HubSpot, we had Freshworks. These have been the top three in the after the pre-selection process, and the Salesforce just has been too expensive for the size of our actual team at that moment. And that's a huge software, really great, really, but absolutely too much. Absolutely, that was very expensive, absolutely out of our budgets. In the middle, as I already mentioned, HubSpot, and that was somehow exactly providing what we wanted to have. It was within the limitations of the budget. It provided all the functionalities we wanted to have, we required, and we had a well German-speaking customer support, which already started in the pre-selecting process when you get the demos and stuff. When the demos are already quite good, understandable, it's really a plus for the software.
Vendors, or have implementation partners already been involved?
No, we were directly connected to the vendors. No implementation partners,
So I reckon you chose.
Pardon me?
I reckon you chose HubSpot from that experience.
Yes, we did. Yeah, you're right.
And I wanted to go back a step, such as you are head of sales, you train your people to do proper preparations and discoveries. And what do you experience vendor-wise? How do they prepare themselves for the potential customers of them?
To be honest, they don't.
Yes.
In my experience, they don't. They simply don't. We had a lot of demos. I already went to that process twice or even 3 times. So we had a lot of demos, and usually they are not very well prepared towards what partner they have on the screen here. So they didn't know about our company size so let's see. When I signed in for Salesforce as a small or maybe slightly middle-sized company, I'm sorry.
Does it?
The normal salesperson would check us and see, okay, they have a small sales and marketing team with like 5 people. What might the budget be? Is my Salesforce software meeting the marketing and sales budget of a small company? My answer is it's not. So if I would have been the salesperson, I would have avoided the demo, the effort to have that demo process, because I knew from the very beginning this is not my customer. So I learned actually they are not researching, they are not prepared on what company is being here in the next conversation. They didn't know about our products, what is our audience, what is the target group, stuff like that. They just ask all these questions in the demo, even not in the discovery calls. There have not only one discovery call in the entire process. So they're usually immediately when you sign on the website, you get a demo.
Yeah.
Fun question. Well, it's not exactly fun, but there are 2 sales processes, inbound and outbound. targeted towards different sizes of companies. Well, inbound sales is usually for SMBs, or well, with the emphasis on the S, and the outbound, of course, for enterprises.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the larger the outbound is basically the rule of thumb. So now this is, of course, the vendor view. The customer view is, well, I want my requirements fulfilled. So it might be the gap between customer expectations means I'm small, but I still would like to have decent consulting or pre-sales, as which kills the margin of the vendor, by the way. And
Yeah.
the actual abilities of vendors to cope with that scale. So how could that gap be closed?
I don't have a clue, to be honest. What I do in my own
question.
what I do in my own sales processes. Let's say in all my experiences, in all my career steps, research is everything. So you have to decide what companies and what target groups do I want to approach, and by what customers I want to be approached. And you do have to do you need to have to do your homework. I'm usually having 1 or 2 people in my team that are only doing research, intent data, company data. They are researching, like, what is the financial development of a company when I'm approaching a customer, like talking about enterprise customers, for example. I would want to have the financial data from the last 3 years to see, do they have the budget? Do they have the development to integrate this kind of whatever software or whatever you are selling here? And otherwise, I also know, how do I create my inbound marketing to exactly get the correct customers or potential customers I want to have? This is nothing you can set up just by a finger snap. It's something that has to be developed years. So the huge question is, when you have a startup, you usually start with networking, with being on events, talking to thousands of people personally. And doing this parallelly, you are starting and building up your marketing and sales processes. And you learn, you gain data, you learn about your target group, you learn about your potential customers, and so on. It's a long process.
So now sticking to Salesforce as an example, they have 2 sales processes, one for small businesses and one for big businesses. So the small business is, well, for Salesforce Starter and the like, so it's a very much inbound process.
Yeah.
So now yanking your chain, yeah. So they want to encourage you or enforce you to follow the process that it's geared for the target group that you are in. And now the blunt statement from their side would be, well, you just didn't adhere to process. Your problem.
But shouldn't you ask the question, how do they find out what target group I belong to? When I sign for a demo, the first step, in my opinion, from the sales team should be researching everything. Research, what company is it? What is the size? Who are the persons in the company to approach? What is the product? So means what is also the target group for that company, and so on. And you need to know this. And when you create inbound marketing, you have to create your inbound marketing in that way that only fitting companies come into that inbound marketing channels. So in our case, it was that when I signed up for Salesforce, I found it somehow via Capterra, I think. I just wrote my email address, like, yeah, I would like to have a demo. And immediately, like an hour later, I got invitations for demos. and we found an appointment, and we set up the demo. There was no question towards me what I am doing, what are my expectations from the system, how's the size of my team, how many sales people will be in the system after setting up, and so on. No questions about that. Only, sorry for the word again, only feature fucking. That's what I got.
Let me put that question towards you on the plate, as it is very interesting, as you have described, on experiencing what you would not be expecting, but you have your own plan, how you go towards your own potential customers.
Yeah.
How is your now used system supporting your approach, as you shared with us that you have gone for Zoho in the time being?
As you mean by using Zoho, how do I support my own sales process to really get best results?
How did you implement, and how is Zoho supporting your approach of doing the discovery properly, getting the right data together so that you start in a different way, like you described you would have liked to experience it by yourself?
I do not have
German support there, as this was a FreshWorks problem.
So without telling all my secrets about my success, I can try to describe what I am doing. First of all, I'm describing for me and my team the target group very detailed. I really consider what industry is the next one we would like to approach and why. What are the pains, for example? I need to know what are their pains. Can we somehow provide solutions for their pains? Next one is, what persona do we address in this target groups? This is a huge research part here. For this, I have a very great team. We are working hand in hand, and once we defined an industry, they start working on researching the perfect persons to approach. Then I set up a first campaign, and this campaign, usually I like to start with mailing campaigns, for example. So I'm always the outbound person. And this mailing campaign really is very detailed on the researched pains, on the market situation, on what are the global issues about this actual. And I then try to really combine or to compose a very good mailing. It's not so easy to describe what I do here, because this is really a huge part of experience for the last 15 years I gained. Job experience, how to compose an emailing that people are reading it, really. You know, you have those addressees who just open up, see, oh no, that's advertisement, and close the mailing and delete. And the worst case is they're answering you, where did you get my contact data? Please delete everything. That's the worst case. And I would like, it is, to be honest, you all know this situation. So what I do is I try to write an email that really gets the people. They open it, they read the first line. For me, the first line is the catching one. If this line,
you are still the text composer and not the artificial intelligence in your system.
No, this is composed by hand, manually. No,
that was a very important one. Thank you for that.
You're welcome again. When you ask also my boss, who always tries to offer me, hey, you can have accounts for ChatGPT. Let's see what we can use here. And he always means just the best for me. He just tries to support me as best as he can. And usually I'm like, leave me alone with ChatGPT. And not to get it wrong, I really like those AI options we have nowadays. I really love it. But for text compositions, this is out. This is nothing which I would like to use. I'm just
strength. text composition.
I'm just trusting my own words, really, because, and now the next step is coming. After this mailing campaign, a telephone campaign is following immediately. So I'm looking who is opening the emails, who is interacting with the email, and who is even answering my email with an appointment request, for example. The next step then is the telephone campaign. And then I'm using my own words. I have no other choice. I am on the telephone, or my team members are on the telephone using their own words. And if these own words do not fit into the text the email has been, this is, how funny does that look then? It somehow feels wrong then.
Yeah.
So for me today, with the actual stand of the AI technology, this is not my stuff to create really good text or email text. Absolutely not. So coming back to what is my process. So I'm really a salesperson that likes to get in contact with people. I'm really a very hard worker. So I do this mailing campaign, and you may also move the same steps also above my team. They are doing the same. So having the mailing campaign, then following up with taking your telephone, call them, talk to them. And you can ask whoever is a serious and passionate salesperson, they all will answer you. And if they are successful, they always will answer you. Call the customer, call the people. If you are afraid of having the telephone and calling people, you are not a good salesperson. That will never work. So I do this, and I really enjoy it usually. Nevertheless, I sometimes have not so nice people, of course, but even these calls are fine for me. So I absolutely can stand that, and usually I have good answers to their critical questions. Even though, where do you have my contact data from? Oh, yeah, well, I can show you. There's a LinkedIn. There's a nice tool I'm using. What? My telephone number is in LinkedIn? Yes, I can show you. I do not want my telephone number in LinkedIn. I can show you how to erase. Let's go together with it. After this call, I got an appointment for the demo team.
I trust you, because this is exactly empathy in action, as
Absolutely.
I would love to receive it, such as I'm Mr. Grumpy Cat, and you catch me and make me in Kuschel modus, such as I'm interested in learning how you are looking for my benefits, and I'm so curious. How does, for instance, in that journey piece where you drive forward from the campaign, from the mailing to the telephone contact, where is your existing software supporting you there strongly? And where would you like to have an even better integration or some features you are missing?
Here we come to the point, to the meaning of data. And here we come to the question of what can AI do for me, and what can workflows and automations do for me. When I'm using a software for sales like CRM, like the Zoho CRM, what I am expecting, I need to have at first a full and complete history of any interaction with a customer. Starting from he was visitor on my website, to I wrote him an email, to he answered or he clicked in the email. Actually, these are basic functionalities. These are basic functionalities in every CRM. Should be, to be honest. This is the base we should have. Are there any CRMs that do not follow up email activities from the customers today? No, right? So I'm using these informations. Then I need to be able to build my own workflows based on the data I gained from the customer's activities. So once I know what websites did he visit, where did he really read my website, what engagement did he show? Where did he click my mails? How often did he open my emails? Did he answer, and so on? Then I can use all these data to create workflows and to decide how I do the next step, how I approach this person with what next step. This is actually what I do. And then there's a lot of, I'm sorry to say this again, a lot of experience that comes into the game, which helps me to decide, how do I approach this person? Is this really a high potential or not? Sometimes I even cannot tell you why I decided this specific person as a high potential. Sometimes it's just gut feelings, and I don't know why. But very often, of course, it's the data, it's the system which supports you with good workflows, with good automations. And what I am missing today, and this is really funny to say, is the real good implementation of artificial intelligence in the CRM. As a HubSpot user and as a Zoho user, I didn't find really good options to use artificial intelligence when I wasn't using my own external systems combined with the CRM. Then, of course, this works, but not as an integration in the system. Not yet. So I'm not perfect. I do not know everything. So maybe there's still something to learn. There's definitely still something to learn also for me. And maybe there are. Then please send me over all your information about that.
That would be the call to action for everyone who is listening out of the Zoho partner bunch, which are present internationally and locally. And just a teaser one, you are very much a company which is co-working in the UCC environment with Microsoft products, with Microsoft Teams. So are you still utilizing Teams?
Yes, we are.
Of the Microsoft products,
or
are you testing a bit the Zoho solutions on that area?
No, we are still using, everything else is still based on Microsoft products. We are using Outlook, we are using Teams, we are using Microsoft SharePoint and everything, like all the other nice apps it has, like Planner and so. But every now and then I'm asking, can I combine this with Zoho? Is there some API, or can we integrate? I'm just working. I'm working on that. So, but
question, backtracking a little, why Zoho this time? What made you choose Zoho?
Very simple. I had a bit experience on what I do expect from a system. So in this case, I wanted to have a system which has a very high usability, which has also a very good flexibility. And as a heavy user, I really wanted to have a system which I can customize by myself as much as possible. So there are also some benefits with strict systems, which you cannot customize as much. This is more for users with less experience, but I, for myself, wanted to have something which I can customize as much as possible by myself. And in the very end, we had a few of them. We are a very small company with a very small sales team, and also the pricing has been definitely a point why we then choose Zoho.
Most certainly. So now, are you working with a partner, or are you doing?
No, we did it by ourselves.
Now with Freshworks, you complained about Indian English support. To my knowledge, those support.
You're totally right. So this is why I mentioned that when we had Freshworks in the pre-selection, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't have as much experience as today. Today, I even gained more experience by using HubSpot as a heavy user, as an admin. Today, I really thought, yes, I can somehow do it by myself. And those few questions that still will be there, I can handle also with Indian English support. That was my just my a bold-faced personality that says I can do that.
And so far you seem happy.
Absolutely. What I would like to really add is that I'm so totally happy with the Soho support. They are pretty fast. Whenever there's a question, they are offering me immediately an appointment, a video appointment or a telephone appointment. And even if they don't have a solution directly in the software, they sometimes are providing me a code and telling me where I need to insert the code, and then I can solve my issue. And this is even more fun for me because I can go even deeper in the details as expected before. So I really have fun with that.
So the magic triangle works. The power is there and the brains are there and the heart as well. So that you feel welcomed.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
So, famous last words time, Thomas. Yes, no?
Well, yeah, of course. Well, the base questions are for all of us, basically. But let's target it to Kristin first. How do you see CRM in 5 years?
With more AI, hopefully. Really more AI. And when I can say a wish towards CRM vendors, please make them more compatible and synchronizable with mailing systems and other like WhatsApp or whatever. This is not working at all at the moment. The only social network you can combine, for example, Salesforce, is LinkedIn. There's no other combination possible with, for example, Facebook or whatever. And even for LinkedIn, you need very specific settings to have that, to enjoy that. So in 5 or even, apologize again, in 5 or even more years, I really see a better development toward these issues.
Perfect.
Well, sounds good to me. I mean, we've had another hour just fly by. And there are many things that we didn't even get to touch on. We may have to have you back just to ask those questions.
But happy to be there again.
Excellent. Kristin, thank you so very much for joining us this week and giving us your insights and your experience. To the audience, thank you for joining us also, and tune in next week when we dive into CX Horizons, the 2024 perspective and the future, reflections on an MIT Insights review with our guest, Ginger Conlon from Genesis. And we look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah, and take care till then. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.